Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kendra and today I'm going to be doing my quarterly favorites from January, February, and March, so the first quarter of the year. I have 5 books that I want to talk about. I have 1 from January, 3 from February, and 1 from March, so a lot of them came from February, which I had an amazing reading month that month. So I'm going to go through these through each of the months that I read these. I cannot rank these at all, but I really did love all 5 of these books. 3 of them actually I don't have physically. I've already given them, let my mother-in-law borrow them. They were 3 historical fiction. She loves historical fiction. I love historical fiction. So anytime that I read a historical fiction that I love, I immediately give it to her to read. So she has 3 of them, and then I have 2 others. And as soon as she gives me those other ones back, I will be giving her these ones to read because I love them as well. So the first book that I'm talking about is the book that I read in January. It is The Removed by Brandon Hobson. This is a literary fiction, and this is about a boy. He was 15 years old and he was shot and killed by the police. And then every year on the National Cherokee holiday, his family has an annual bonfire to celebrate his life. His family has a lot going on. His mom still has not gotten over his death. His father is battling Alzheimer's. His sister is living in a solitude type of life, and she only likes younger men. And then his other brother is into drugs. So this family has a lot going on. You're just going through all of their lives and how they're coping with his death. So this book actually has really polarizing reviews on Goodreads. I think the rating is like a 3.2, almost like a 3.3, which is absolutely shocking to me. I obviously loved this book. It has magical realism in it because it does dive pretty deep into the Cherokee culture, which is very fascinating to read about. That's one of the main reasons why I really loved this book. And I really loved how this book was in multiple point of views. I love books that are in different point of views because I like to get more of the characters' backgrounds and more about them. So I really love that about this book. And yeah, so those are the main things I really loved. I loved the Cherokee folklore and myths and the culture. And then I also loved all the different POVs. And I just really liked this book, and it really made me go out and purchase more Native American culture type books. So I'm really excited to read more from Native American culture. But I really love this book, and I really don't understand why it has really bad reviews. I haven't read why people didn't like it. I think it might be because of the magical realism aspect, but I loved it. So if you like magical realism, I highly recommend picking this one up. The next 3 books are books that I've read in February. The first one is Yellow Wife by Sadiqa Johnson, and this one is about a woman. She's born on a plantation, and on her 18th birthday, she is promised that she is going to become free because she is a slave there. And actually on her 18th birthday, she ends up getting sold to this jail where they torture and sell other slaves. And while she is there, she is forced to become a mistress of the jail owner, and she is trying to free herself from being a slave and a mistress to this man at the jail. So this book was fantastic. It was beautifully written, and it's a very heartbreaking and brutal story, but it's definitely one that needs to be told. There were definitely parts in this book where I was sick to my stomach from the absolute horrible torture that these people went through. This is definitely a story that I will remember for a very long time. If you are interested in books that are set in the 1800s and deal with African American slavery, I definitely recommend picking this one up. The next book that I want to talk about is A Woman Is No Man by Edith Rum, and this book follows a parallel storyline of two women. The first one is Isra. She is living in Palestine and her parents are arranging her marriage, and the man that they're wanting her to marry, he is actually living in America, so she's forced to marry this man, and she moves to America where she knows no one and is hoping for a better life than living in Palestine. And then you're also following Daya's story. She is another young woman and she lives with her grandmother, who is very strict, and she lives in an Arab house. And she goes to an Islamic school. She does not want to live an Islamic life because her grandmother is arranging her marriage, and she does not want that. She does not want a loveless marriage. So you're just following these two women, and yeah, that's pretty much what this story is about. It is absolutely phenomenal. I loved this book. I felt so much for the women in this book. They went through so much, and even when Isra thought that she was going to be coming to America to be more free and be able to do more things that she wanted to do, however, that's not the case. And it's just really heartbreaking knowing that women are treated like this all over the world, and it's just so heartbreaking. And one of the things I really loved about this book is that it talks about food a lot, and I really love Mediterranean type of food, so it was really interesting to read about them cooking it and what they were making, so I did love that. But yeah, I absolutely love this book. I highly recommend picking this one up if you are interested in this type of book. And this next book is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. This is set in the 1920s in Texas during the Great Depression, and you're following this woman named Elsa. She is completely ignored by her family, and she ends up meeting this man, and she ends up getting pregnant. Her family ends up kicking her out of their house, and she goes to move in with him, and then they end up having children. And then it's during the Dust Bowl, so you're reading about the Dust Bowl, and then she must decide to stay in Texas or move to California. Better life for her children and her. So this book was absolutely amazing. I devoured it. I loved it. I cried. I just loved it. This book, I love Kristen Hanna's writing so much. It really makes you feel like you were there. During the Dust Bowl scenes, I literally was so thirsty when I was reading this book. But her descriptions of everything is just absolutely phenomenal. It makes you really feel like you're there and you really connect to these characters. Yeah, this is just an amazing book. I love Kristen Hanna. I love everything she writes. So it's no surprise that this is one of my favorite books from the first quarter of the year. And then the last book is a book that I read in March. It is The Last Apothecary by Sarah Pinner. This is a historical fantasy mystery, I think that's what you want to categorize it. This is about, as dual timelines. So the first timeline, you're following a woman in the 1700s. She is an apothecary. She helps give women different poisons to kill men that have hurt them. And then you're also following a woman in present day named Caroline, and she is going to London on her anniversary trip. However, her husband is not going with her because she finds out that he is having an affair, and she just wants to go by herself to think over things and just think about their relationship, if she wants to be with him or not. And while she's in London, she ends up going mudlarking, and she finds this little bottle that is old, and she ends up researching and she wants to figure out like where this bottle came from. And obviously it's linked to the other timeline that you're reading, so you're just seeing how they intermingle with each other. And then there's also a mystery in this book as well. So I love this book. It was just so good. I really had no idea what I was going into when I read this book, and I'm just so glad I read it because it is one of my favorite books so far this year. So if you love historical fiction and a little bit of fantasy and a little bit of mystery elements, I highly recommend picking this one up. I also really love this book because the present day character lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, and that's where I currently live. So I found that super fascinating. I love reading about characters that live where I live. So yeah, I really love this one. Another book I highly recommend picking up. So those are all the books in the first quarter of the year that I have absolutely loved. Let me know in the comments what books you have loved so far this year. And also let me know if you've read these books and what you thought about them. And until then, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!